How's everybody today?
Doing great.
Good. Very good, thank you.
Season one, we had no idea it was going to end that way.
That's good. That's mission accomplished. I'm very happy. Yeah, thank you.
So what's in store for season two? Some more surprises?
Some more surprises for sure. We really want to kind of reinvent the world a little bit, and so that's one of the things that that we really love about this show is the opportunity to bring a lot of we're bringing our characters with us, we're bringing a lot of the mythology with us from last season, but we also don't want to pick up exactly where we left off. We really want to kind of take the show in kind of a new and hopefully surprising direction. And it was always the thought of the show, even from the very beginning, to, okay, first season we're going to do in the Arctic, and it's this contagion within this base, and everyone, a lot of people anyway, were saying, how do you sustain that over multiple seasons? And the way you sustain it is you don't try to sustain it. So we want to, every season of the show, if we're so fortunate, we want to be able to kind of pick up and move to a new location and keep our structure, keep doing one episode per day, but also kind of open it up and be like, oh, wow, okay, the season is here and this is what we're doing. So that's what we're doing, and we're excited, tremendously excited about it.
So is it going to just be one location each season, or are you going to do a wider?
It gets a little bit wider, but we really like the thing. I think that one of the things that worked really well about last season was the claustrophobia and the feeling of we're trapped in this place for a certain number of days, and so we can go other places through various kind of structural devices. But what we really like is that sense of, crap, I'm trapped here. How do I get out? How do I survive? What's happening in this place, and trying to unpack that from within. So we like that a lot, and we're going to do that again this year.
So were you kind of chuckling to yourself when people were like, oh, it's a zombie show, it's a virus show, it's a this, it's that, and you're like, well, yes and no and yes.
Yes, absolutely, and not chuckling so much. I mean, last year it was just frustrating because it was like, it's zombies, and it's like, no, we're not zombies. We love zombies, but we're not that. Yeah. But yes, we definitely had more in mind for the show, and so it's tricky because you want to have there be a threat, but at the same time, you don't want it to look like other shows that are out there. And now there's such a proliferation of virus shows too that we want to be different, and we want to be able to do our own thing and tell our own stories. So it was a little frustrating, but at the same time, we knew we had a plan, and so it was like, just wait, be patient, please watch the show, and hang in there, and you'll see.
So how do you keep the core cast together for season two? I mean, season one, everybody was in the base.
Right.
They had a reason to be together. But
right.
So I assume everybody's coming back?
Everybody is coming back to some degree, and it's hard because we're trying to thank you very much, because we're trying to reinvent a little bit. Trying to motivate how people are ending up where is a little tricky this year because some of those characters are very particular to the Arctic so yes, we are going to bring back as many people as we can in different versions and different incarnations, but it's not the same kind of thing where we can bring everybody back in the same station.
Thematically, what are you thinking season two is really going to be revolving around? Obviously, a lot of words and a lot of setting up mythology last year.
Yeah, some of that.
But what about this year?
This year, I don't want to say thematically because we have a really cool theme and a really cool kind of science that we're circling the show around. It's going to be very different from last year, but still very much under the purview of the CDC. So what we want to do, in a given season is say, oh, they also do this, and they handle those kind of cases, and oh, okay, yeah, I heard about that on the news. That's interesting. But then also add in our mythology and make you feel like at the end of season two, it's like, oh, okay, I get it. So season one was Ilaria was up to this, and the Immortals, and they were, they had this, terrible conspiracy, and in season two, you go, oh, okay, now I see. I know a lot more about that now, and it doesn't feel like it's completely separate because we're not an American Horror Story, type show where we're going to reinvent completely, which I think is great. But what we want to do is reinvent, 60% of the show, and the rest comes with us in character arcs and in serialized storytelling.
What was the thinking in splitting the virus into two types?
We wanted the virus to do, it was tricky, we wanted the virus to do different things. And so that was really our thinking behind it, and it was tough. It was hard to sort of reconcile that and keep it all together, but we wanted it to be, the nice thing about science fiction is that you have the ability to kind of take things in a really strange and, direction that hopefully feels a little bit truthful, but is also in a sci-fi place. So it was challenging, tremendously challenging to kind of figure out how to reconcile both sides of the virus. But that was it. We wanted it to be really dangerous now. We wanted it to be contagious and spreadable and not just kill people and turn them into a bag of goo right off the bat.
Did you consult with the CDC on how to do that?
We did, yeah. And I mean, with consulting, what we always do, and I've done this on a lot of shows with consultants, is you don't say what's the most probable. You say, is this possible? That is it remotely? Is there a sliver of a chance that it could be this? Because if so, we'd like to do that. And they go, well, what you get from a good consultant is they go, no, but if you did this instead, there is this other virus called this, and it does so and so. You go, oh, okay, good. We can feather it in and lean in that direction.
So now that we know about all the immortality, are there going to be flashbacks to earlier in the lives?
There very well may be. We haven't landed on a bunch of that stuff yet, but yes, we do want to know how this happened and what it all means. So we jumped around in time a little bit at the end of last season, and we will be time jumping again for sure, both at the start of the season and then also during the season. So that's the thing that we don't do a dedicated flashback story like a Lost, but we are going to be playing with time this year for sure.
So you say you're going to jump in also, does that mean there's going to be a time jump between the end of last season and the start of this season?
There absolutely will be, yes, and that's one of the things that we wanted to set up because we're not a completely serialized show that picks up right where you left off. We do it episode to episode, but not season to season. But then we're not a show that's going to reinvent the entire series every single time either. So the best way to do that is to take a significant time jump and then go, oh my God, this character was there and now they're here? How did that happen? And then hopefully if we're doing our job right, you understand within a couple of episodes, oh, okay, now I understand. All this stuff happened between seasons, but now I get where we are and where we're going. So that's the fun of it, is trying to figure out what's the, because I think people will be expecting us to start in Paris, and we're not necessarily going to do that.
Now with Julia's character, was she and her father have a more father-daughter relationship? Because it seems like she was resistant at first, but when you left off the final episode, it seems like she's kind of embracing some of his tactics.
Yeah, it very definitely does, and that's a character. Both a lot of our characters are going to be embracing new parameters this year. So yes, we are definitely going to. There will be another chapter in that relationship between Julia and her father, but I don't want to say too much more about that. It's cool. I really love it.
Looking forward to it.
How difficult is it to not cast the light on Dr. Hitake completely 100% as a villain, still give him those human side, but still show how much of a monster that he is?
Right. Oh, I thought that was one of my favorite parts of last season. And this is an area where I was frustrated, talking about frustration with people, guessing ahead, because when we started with him, he seemed like a bad guy. And then I hope anyway, by the end, we had humanized him to a place where you're like, I kind of like him, but I hate him, which I really like. And so the frustration was just hoping people would be patient and stick with the show and not just go, oh, he's, I've seen that guy, he's twirling his mustache, and, it's like, no, he's awesome, just wait, please, be patient, because you're not going to see all the colors in the first episode or two, but by the time you get to 13, you'll go, oh, I have a greater understanding of that guy, and I get it, and that's the same thing we want to do this year, is somebody that you thought was a really good character has some stuff that's not so good about them, and someone you thought was, we're introducing a couple new characters as well, and people that you think, oh yeah, I know what that person's about. Hopefully by the end of season 2, you won't know what that person's about, and you'll feel very conflicted about them.
And there, you're talking kind of about not necessarily a misdirect, but a slow reveal. But
yes.
You were able to impart kind of a lot of information subtly while you had kind of holy crap moments, like the Field of Frozen Monkeys,
right.
and things like that. So how hard is it to balance that kind of stuff, and how hard is it to bring it to the second?
It's really hard. That's probably the most challenging part of the job, is just trying to figure out how much to reveal when, because we have a really good writing staff, and everyone can write scenes, and everyone can come up with great ideas, and it's the parsing out of those ideas, because there's a version that burns through story very quickly, and you just have to keep, you just have to keep turning it around, and then there's a version where, you're going so slowly, and you're just, parceling things out, in eyedropperfuls, where it can get really frustrating for the audience, where they're like, nothing happened this week. It was, cool, I learned something new about the character, but what really happened this week? Not much. And that's always the challenge, is how much and how little how much you hold back and how much do you lay out there. And so we always want to have a big twist at the end of the show. We always want to have a big twist between acts, but we don't want to burn through so much story that it feels ridiculous.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.